Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that helped me get to the highest rank in Pokemon Unite, the rank Master. I've been playing, by the way, Pokemon Unite for 3 weeks only, but I spent more than 100 hours and I played it a lot. And of course I struggled here and there and I changed things in order to be able to progress and eventually reach Master rank. Alright, so without further ado, let's begin. Now, one of the most important things is choosing the right Pokemon for the team setup. For example, you've probably seen many players, for example, like 4 melee characters, or maybe just 4 range characters and 1 melee, or sometimes you're gonna see just all melee characters. But again, the team setup is very important in Pokemon Unite. Now, the thing is that if you play alone, it's better to go with something versatile, for example, like range and melee, because again, you don't know what the other teams are choosing, right? So you're better off choosing something versatile rather than go with 2 melee, for example. Although if you communicate well with a teammate via voice, for example, Discord, and it's a friend, you can of course create really cool moves and really take advantage of the synergy between the two characters that both of you are playing. But better off make sure you fit your character to what's actually missing. If you see that the other players are not, let's say, agree on what to use, make sure you are the one who actually do that. This is very, very important. You see lots of people just choosing their own favorite characters, but many of those will actually won't be able to rank up quickly, or maybe not get to master rank at all because of this decision that actually caused the team to fail. Now, it's better to log things first and choose, of course, a character that you are familiar with. It's not just if you have a character you're not familiar with, you better on just choosing the one you feel comfortable with. But make sure you lock it pretty fast and make sure you mention the lane, because otherwise other players will just continue switching and we don't have a lot of time. So if everybody continues switching, eventually it's just going to be like throwing a dice, several dices, and we're just going to get a team that is not well balanced. So sometimes it's better just to look ahead of time and make sure, and let's just look what the other teammates are doing. And if you see that they're also locking on something that it's not good, just make the change yourself. Now, this is very important, and I'm sure many of you played notice this. Don't overextend, or at least if you do it, make sure you are aware of the dangers, like looking at the mini-map, see where the center is, jungle is, and again, try to see whether there's an opportunity there. But overall, in many situations, you're going to find out that overextending, going towards the enemy line, can be easily punished by the opponent team. Now, of course, this works the other way around. If you see another player on the opposing team just extending towards your area, especially, by the way, at the beginning of the game, make sure to punish them. This is a great opportunity, like you see here. If somebody wants to come really close, no problem. You can use, for example, slow, and just make sure you punish them. Again, this is a mistake of the opponent team, but again, don't make the same mistake yourself. And that goes also for if you really want to eliminate the enemy and they're pretty low, don't overextend yourself for doing it, because you can get punished by the jungle, right? So if you do this, make sure it's calculated, don't extend too much in order to get the elimination. Again, preferably the range can do it, but if you're a melee, or otherwise if you have an escape option, you can do it, but again, don't risk it, it's not worth it. Like he, for example, is overextending, but I didn't have the utility, the slow, to actually stop him. So he was able to get out of that pretty fast. So there are some options to do it. Depends on the character you're using, depends on the situation. But overall, in general, it can be risky, so make sure to watch out. This is usually the opportunity that the opponent team are waiting for you to punish you, to get your balls, easily score, and of course gain XP for that. So you give them a lot by actually doing this mistake. So don't do it. I mean, if you do it, make it calculated. Now, supporting your teammates, of course, is a broad term, but basically there's so many things you can do. Like make sure that if somebody of teammates is low, make sure maybe put slow to prevent other opponents to actually get them. You should be well aware of their abilities. So some Pokemon are quite squishy and not effective in fights, especially early on. Like Serena, for example, until I get a stump, I don't really want to engage. So if you know them and you play with the other Pokemons, you'll know how much they actually can progress, especially early game, in order to get them effective in combat and win, especially duos in lanes. So this is very, very important. Another thing is just to allow them to rank up as well. If you're a character that can easily get the last hit, for example, on wild Pokemons, don't do it all the time. Pay attention to the rank and make sure they evolve as well, especially they can be very, very strong early on. Make sure you give them the option to do so and don't steal like all the last hits and get all XP yourself. Make sure you distribute it well. Depends, of course, on the Pokemon you are playing with. Now, another tip for you is don't surrender. At least don't be that, easy on the trigger to surrender. If you're able to do well in the last 2 minutes, you can win the game. It doesn't matter how bad you actually did before. I had so many games where I told myself, this is just terrible team, we're gonna lose this easy, and I felt like just let's finish with it, and we're able to win, even with a really not that good team. I know it's kind of frustrating, players are playing really bad, but sometimes, especially where the kind of forces are kind of even, players are already strong and can form very well at the end, and if they have the ult and the other team doesn't have ult, there's so many options in terms of the dynamics of the game, which allows you to win the game even if your team is very underperforming during the match. So my tip for you, give them a chance, don't surrender so fast. If you surrender, you just lose the game, so it's better just to have a chance, right? Because again, the matches are not that long, only 10 minutes. So always remember that Zapdos is your win condition and you can take advantage of it at the end. Make sure you are ready, by the way, with your ults, with your ability, for example, like slow. Make sure to position yourself well and support your team, and you can do good. So don't surrender so easily. Now I'm going to show you something where even if you lose Zapdos, you still can win a game. So this, what you see here on the screen, is exactly that. So what happened here, we're going to see soon, we're going to lose Zapdos, and basically at this point enemy can easily score. Now the best thing we decided to do, instead of, for example, just guarding our gates, the problem with guarding is when the enemies get there, just immediately they can score. So the thing is that we try to eliminate enemies as fast as possible, and everybody together pushing towards the enemy's base. The reason for that is together we are much stronger. Enemies will spawn at different times, so they're going to be less, maybe going to fight 1 or 2 instead of all the team. Of course, we are stronger fighting together, and we can also support each other, scoring goal faster when we are staying together. So that's what we do. We're just being aggressive. You see, 2 of them are actually out, so we're still going to be very, very strong. Although the enemy come with full health, we still have some other teammates that are giving us buffs, alright, like healing and shield. They're activating the ults. As you can see here, we're just pushing through, and this is how we easily won the game, but just being on the offensive side rather than on the defensive side. As you can see, the other team surrendered. Now, it depends on the Pokemon you are using. Careful positioning is a key for success. You can easily get eliminated if you just position yourself in the wrong place. For example, here I'm with Pikachu, making sure I keep distance for enemies. Sometimes stay hidden, so they won't even easily detect me while in the middle of the fight, and I continue attacking, right? Just supporting for a distance. Of course, it really depends on the Pokemon you're using. You see, I'm disengaging quickly and still attacking from far, right? So if I was close to the enemies, they can easily take me out because I'm squishy, and really I don't have the capabilities of being very durable compared to other Pokemon. So again, it depends on the Pokemon, but make sure you position yourself well in team fights. This, of course, I can make an entire video just on that for each Pokemon, but again, keep in mind positioning is crucial, just to prevent you from actually dying. Now, another very important thing is if you want to support well your team, make sure to stay with them at the goal so they can actually score faster. Even if you don't have any balls, if you stay close to them when they dunk, you can actually make sure they dunk faster. So this is very important. Don't just see if somebody dunking, even there are not many enemies, just be there, help the other one to dunk so you can dunk faster and get out of there. Rather than just saying, alright, he's going to score anyway, let's just go and do something else. Of course, it can depend on the situation, but in many cases, if you're already there close to your teammate, help them with their scoring so you can actually score faster. And I'm doing it myself a lot of time, and unless I see like a very risky move from the player, and I know it's very, very risky and both of us can actually get eliminated. But most of the time, of course, when I can, I do that. Now, always try to focus on farming and leveling up. This is very, very important, even if you are behind in terms of level than the other team. Actually, because you can't actually win fights if you are behind, make sure to farm to get to this level, while the other enemy might try to just search for you. So if you're low, don't overdo it, go and farm, become stronger, and then you are able to do well in fights. Remember, the game is short, so if you're just spending time just walking around, you're gonna miss minutes that you can get stronger. So don't spend time most of the time doing nothing, unless again the opportunity arrived, but other than that, make sure to farm and a lot, get your character ready, get your ult as ready as fast as possible, so you can be ready for the next fight. And sometimes it doesn't matter how well you do during the match, but the last 2 minutes is going to be decisive. So there are many things you shouldn't do. First of all, don't try to take Zapdos on your own, right? You can easily die there and you're just out of the game. The best thing to do is just wait for your team up together at the center and fight together. Don't try to score before, because if you leave your teammate, you're going to be 4 versus 5. Wait, that's in the worst case scenario, yeah, but you're going to be 4 versus 5 and then your teammates can lose, and then doesn't matter your goal, the other team will win, most probably. And that's true also to your ult ability. If you can, make sure you save it for that fight in the middle. Some ults are amazing, are so important for this particular fight. Depends of course on the Pokemon, but if you save your ult, you can just win the match, that team fight easily. Again, depends of course, this is very dynamic, but overall if you have your ult, you have a big advantage. Alright, so make sure to save it if you can for that particular fight at Zapdos. The other thing is that if you eliminate Zapdos, your team eliminate, make sure you go directly to the goal. Don't waste time fighting others, go directly. If you have ult ready and you get speed, activate it and just rush through. If you have abilities, doesn't matter. At this point, the only thing that matters is that you score. And by the way, after you score, make sure you defend, unless there's a lot of time, but in majority of games, if you already scored, make sure to just protect your goals. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware of that, but maybe if not, there's an option to prepare protecting the last standing bases. When you stand on this ramp, you'll be able to get a large field of view of the other bases, so you can actually know where other enemies are actually approaching them. And once they do, you can actually jump to the appropriate one. What the other player is doing is not just sitting there and AFKing, he's just looking to see where the other enemies are going. You can actually check the minimap, but the better thing is just to stand there and just react immediately if you see other enemies approaching one of the far bases. So you look carefully at the minimap, you see the enemy approaches and the other one just jump to protect it, you see? So another will come, jump just to protect it. So pay attention to the minimap, but better, or with of course, stand on the ramp and make sure to react in time. Now, if Zapdos already taken down, it's better to protect far from the area than actually by standing on the goal, because enemies can just go and it immediately, almost immediately, they can score. So if you take them down before they're able to gather, it's better. Again, depends on the situation, of course. Now, sometimes you lose and you find yourself fighting again in a match that all of the Pokemon are actually bots, except you. Just keep in mind that in this situation, just make sure to be more aggressive against them, and you'll be able to define. That's what I do, and I didn't have any problem with that. Now, until you get to more permanent upgrades, make sure you prioritize the upgrades getting better on when you start the game. So for example, instead here with Pikachu, I'm choosing this ability that allows me to deal more damage than the other ones that is more of like stunning enemies, which is not that useful here. So again, make sure you prioritize those abilities first that can be useful later on in the game. Now, I don't see many players actually hiding in the bushes, taking advantage of them. This is great for surprise attacks and also getting information, because usually other players are hiding and just waiting to get also them information. If you hide, you will maybe try to score. You can even punish them for that. Rather than just standing there and just not doing nothing, it's better to hide so you can get this information rather than being in a position where you actually get surprised yourself. Now, why doing it? The main thing I do it, by the way, is to give information for the jungle, the center, so they know how to surprise the other enemies. Sometimes I just want them to, get them closer to my goal and allow the jungle to actually see it and then surprise them from behind. So if I'm just standing there, not doing anything, enemies won't get closer. This is just a loss of opportunity to punish players who try to overextend. Now, very important thing, don't let your ego control you. If you come with a mentality, which is usually a mentality for losers, where you're just gonna, for example, if another person just choose going to the center and you want center, don't fight over this, right? Because eventually you're just gonna lead for the team to lose, and then you lose and you continue losing. If it happens the second time, you're gonna lose again. Don't do it. Be smart. Your goal is to progress. Remember that, to reach master rank. So if you do it, you play well and you change, you are more likely to get to a higher rank compared to a person who just has a big ego and just want to be like, I'm not gonna change. Or for example, maybe the team start losing, or one of the players actually died for his mistake, and you just want to concede, surrender. All right, don't do it. Try to contain those emotions and don't let them affect the gameplay, because again, remember, the goal is to win. And I've seen so many players that exactly what they do. They surrender very, very early. Somebody choose one lane, they don't want to change, just go to the lane, doesn't matter. Or just fighting at the jungle together, nobody actually want to give up the jungle, just go and change lanes. It happens a lot, more than actually I expected. So if your goal is to rank up, not fight with other players, doesn't matter. Remember the goal and you'll be fine. One more important thing is learn multiple characters. Now, it's not just be able to pick up one that actually fits the team composition, but even if you don't do it, make sure you learn the moves even without playing them, but just taking a look at this Pokemon list of characters and check out and inspect their moves, so at least know what they can do. Because eventually you will fight against them and some of them can counter you very well. Depends of course on the Pokemon you're choosing. So if you know which one is a good counter, maybe you try to avoid fighting it one-on-one. But the best thing of course is to play with those Pokemons. But you can see here I haven't unlocked all of them yet, but you can practice with them. You don't have to go like real matches, just practice, see their moves, understand them, so you can actually see what to worry about when you're going to face this Pokemon, and how to, maybe if you're good against this Pokemon, how to quickly neutralize it. Of course there are different builds by the way, but understanding the basic moves of the Pokemon can really help you a lot, because you know what is worst for you and what is good for you when actually in combat. You learn what distance you need to keep for this Pokemon, whether they can close distance close distance on you very, very quick, or maybe they just hit very, very hard, and other type of stuff. So if you play with them, you'll know, and you'll be much, much better when actually playing competitive. So these are a few tips, which is based on my experience, because I needed to correct things and learn different things that really helped me out to reach master. Once I done good, not perfect, but I done good, learning them, understanding them, eventually I was able to get to master relatively fast. Just keep in mind, yeah, I played Pokemon UNITE, I started playing just 3 weeks ago, and still it doesn't matter. I was able to see where actually what I'm doing wrong, correct my mistakes, and learning more, and eventually I was able to get there. It's not hard unless you don't do those silly mistakes that many other players are doing. It just causes the team to lose, and you focus on learning things that are important for competitive play. I think you're going to get there in no time. But the most important thing, don't be discouraged. If you need to take a break, take a break. Sometimes that's what I do. I see, for example, I dropped to veteran and just took a break. Next day, 2 days after, come back, try again. So when I be more motivated, so make sure you play with when you're more motivated, because otherwise you're going to be frustrated, and this frustration can lead you to doing just things that you don't like doing and can lead your team to fail eventually. So take it easy, don't push it too hard, and you get there. So good luck, I see you in the next video. Also consider subscribing to my channel and give this one a little like. Also search for Spooky Fairy on Twitch where I stream. I see you in the next one. Cheers, bye bye.